Welcome to Real Estate School. Hi, I'm Tim Farnham with Black Label Real Estate, and in this video, I'm going to show you some of the key metrics used to define the housing market. So here we go. Real Estate School Metrics 101. Oh, how do I do that? There it is. All right, so these are the metrics that we're going to go over so that way you can kind of understand when I talk about these in my Monday morning market update videos or other people are talking about them, you understand what this means. Seasonality is basically a predictable change that occurs from year to year. So every summer, sometimes the market gets hot. Every winter, the market gets cool. And so because those happen every year reasonably predictably, that's called seasonality. And so it's important to be able to decipher the seasonal effects versus the bigger macro effects. Applications is we take it from year to year. So we might look at the data for the past 3 years and see if every summer for the past 3 years, there's less homes on the market, then we know that overall less people from year to year are selling their homes. And this right here is just an example of seasonality for 3 years. You can kind of see that the homes for sale go up during June and then down closer to December. So that's just an example of seasonality. Active listings simply means it's the number of homes for sale that you actually can put an offer on. You will sometimes see that something is pending or contingent, and so those would not be included in this. And we're going to go over what those things mean a little bit later. So it helps to show what the overall supply of homes on the market are. So when there's more active listings on the rise, then you know that there's a lot more sellers than buyers. And if it's lowering, that means that the buyers are gobbling up the existing listings. Seasonality, generally it's highest in the summer and the lowest around the holidays, Christmas, New Year's. People generally like to stay put, so you don't see many people looking for homes or selling homes around that time. New listings, it's really it's the homes that have just hit the market. So sometimes you might see it as a new listing in the past 7 days or 30 days, but either way, it's the amount of new listings that just hit the market in that given amount of time. That usually does not include homes that are back on the market. So for instance, homes that went on sale, accepted an offer, came off the market and went back on. But these are generally just the listings that just hit the market. And the more new listings you have in a given time period, the more people are wanting to sell their home. The application of this seasonality, first of all, it does get lower, as I said, around the winter, and it really speeds up in the kind of like late spring, early summer. That's when a lot of people really want to move, is around summertime. So that's when you see those typically hit those highs. So the seasonality, late spring, early summer is the highest, and in December it's usually the lowest. Contingent listings are ones that they were active, but then a seller has accepted an offer. But sometimes it's still contingent because maybe the person who bought the house still needs to sell their house, or maybe they want to do some inspections and they're not fully committed to buying the house. So that's why they still have contingencies. The use of this is that it kind of shows you how fast the homes are coming off the market. So typically a home will go contingent before it goes pending or sold, which we will get to later, but it definitely shows a more current how frequently or how many homes are leaving the market at a current point in time. The application, if the contingent listings start to go down, then you will notice that, the buyers are slowing down. Now, this could be seasonal or it could be a macro trend, and we'll see later when you see the contingent listings go up, you'll see that there is definitely an increase in buyer activity. So as mentioned, seasonality, this is highest in the summer because that's when people want to move, and it's lowest in the winter, which is when normally people are home for the holidays and don't really want to move. So here's a caveat. There's actually 2 types of contingent listings that you will see if you ever look at raw data from the MLS. It'll be either show or no show. And show simply means that they're still going to continue to show the property and they might be taking backup offers on it just in case the initial offer falls through. But then there's also no show, which means that the agent showing the property is not even going to show the property, even if you like it and want to put in a backup offer. They're basically not allowing the showings, and that's kind of up to the seller. The next is pending listings. So the big difference between contingent and pending is that the seller has already accepted the offer and the contingencies have been removed. So for instance, they have already sold their home. They have already completed the inspections and they're good with whatever they found. And so they've actually signed off on all their contingencies. And so really all they're waiting is for the money or the loan to actually clear so that the seller can get the money and that the house can officially go on title with the buyer. So why is this useful? Well, it's important to know that there is a difference between pending and contingents. These homes are not likely to return to the market, whereas contingent ones might if they don't actually waive the contingencies. So again, if these get low, that could mean that there's a buyer slowdown. If they get high, that's typically indicative of, higher buyer activity. Same as with contingencies. The seasonality is much higher in the summer and it's much lower in the winter. Sold, well, I think we all kind of know what that means. This is a little self-explanatory. The home is no longer on the market. It's sold and we know what it listed for and we know what it sold for, and it's already on record with the buyer as the owner now. And what this does is this shows the total volume of completed transactions. So it's not really complete until it finally goes sold. Again, application-wise, in a slow market, this number is going to be low because you have either few sellers or few buyers. And if the number of sold listings are high, that basically means that there's lots of sellers and buyers. Seasonality, you'll find the highest amount of sold listings in the late summer, early fall, and it's usually lowest in winter. Again, people in winter, they generally don't like to move. So you will almost always see it slow down, come November, December, and then kind of into January. So this is the next tricky one. This is median price versus average sales price. And I point this out because they are not the same, and a lot of people confuse the two. One of them is more useful, especially if you don't have very many data points. So let's just say that we have sold 7 homes, and here's the price listed, in the bottom left. They're all kind of congregated, just around 1.8 million plus or minus a little bit, but we have one home that's sold for a lot more. So definitions, the median sale price is the middle price of the homes that sold. The average is just the average. It's the total sum divided by the number that sold. So sometimes it is useful to look at the middle price instead of the average price. And I'm going to give you, this is an example. So for the average price here, we have an average of 2.9 million. If you add those all up and divide by 7, but I would be hard pressed to say that the average sale price or the average home in that area would sell for 2.9 million. If you're in that area and you're looking to sell a home and you look around and your home is about what everybody else's is, that 2.9 million would be an exaggeration of what your home is worth. So this is where we would take the median value. If you've got a very average home in that neighborhood, average size, average condition, it would be about 1.8 million. And again, this is just to give you an idea that these two metrics will give you a completely different answer, which is why it's really good to look at both and kind of use a little bit of reasoning to sort out which one is more appropriate to use. Percent over list. This is actually the percentage of homes that sold above list price. And it really indicates how eager buyers are to get that property. So for instance, in a seller's market, buyers are always competing. And so you'll find a higher number of homes that actually sold above list price. And if the number is lower, you will see that, homes are typically sitting on the market longer and buyers are, offering less than list price. So you'll see that in sellers markets when it's hot, this number, especially here in San Francisco, can be up as high as like 70, 80%, where almost every home is selling above list price. Seasonality, it actually is reasonably consistent because even in the winter, you have less buyers and less sellers, so that the supply and demand kind of it doesn't really change this number very much. The average sale price to list price, while this is on average, again, not median, on average, how much did the homes sell for above the list price? So, but it's 100, if it's read at 100%, things are selling at list price. If it's at 110, they're selling 10% above list price. So it just shows how much, on average, buyers had to spend above list price to get the home. So as I said, 100% is if you look at a listing and it seems nicer than the sold listings, then you can probably guarantee that if you're going to get that property, you're going to want to bid more than 100%. If you look at this property versus the other properties that have sold at a similar listing price, they might want to bid under that 100%, or it also means that people have a lot of options in that price range, or things are just sitting on the market for a long time. Also, seasonality, it's reasonably consistent in that summer and winter, we really don't see that big of a fluctuation of sale price over list price. So another good metric is the median versus average days on market. Again, this is much more clear when we don't have very many data points. This just for round numbers, this is supposed to be really simple. We got 7 homes that sold. These are the different days that they were on the market, and you'll find that some sit on the market for a long time. And these couple data points, these couple homes that sit on the market for 6 months, 9 months, can really sway the average. And so that's why we typically like to use the median day on market, because it shows it's much more representative of how long homes are actually sitting on the market. Absorption rate is a really good one, and it's the rate at which homes sell over. And it basically indicates how fast homes are selling. And here's the equation for it. The absorption rate is the average number of sales per month divided by the total number of properties available. And this one is very indicative of if it's a hot market or a slow market. If this ratio is over 20%, just to give you an idea, that means there's 100 homes on the market for the month and 20 or more of them sold. That is indicative of a seller's market. If it's under 15%, that means that is a buyer's market. So when I do my update videos, you'll see that I actually have a bar, because everybody is thinking or hoping we're going to enter into a buyer's market. But as of this video, January 2024, it's still very much a seller's market, and you'll see why. But that's for another day. Anyway, seasonality, it does change a little bit. The highest absorption rate is usually in early spring, and that's because a lot of buyers are chomping at the bit to actually buy property. So you'll see this go up in early spring, and because it does take some time to put a property on the market, usually we don't see a lot of those actually hit the market until late spring, early summer. So that's why early spring, it typically goes up because this number of sales did go up, but the available properties kind of stayed the same or a little bit lower. And it's usually lowest in late fall when you might have a surplus of inventory and people have kind of stopped shopping around because of, the holidays are coming up and people don't want to move, between Thanksgiving and New Year's generally. Now, months of supply or just supply, I like to do it in months of inventory. And this is how many months of inventory are currently available on the market. And it also, just the way I do the math, it's the inverse of absorption. So it basically indicates how fast properties are selling. So in the same thing as last time, if I had 100 homes on the market and only 20 sold, then you would have 5 months of inventory because of 100 divided by 20, 5 months of inventory. So the application for this, using that same 2015 rule, if it's under 5 months of inventory, it's considered a fast market and a seller's market. If it's over 7 months, then that's when it's considered a buyer's market. Seasonality, again, it's actually the same. It's the lowest in the early spring, highest in the late fall. Thank you for watching. The whole goal of this video was just to help you as a buyer or seller understand what the different metrics are in terms of the real estate market. If I missed something, feel free to leave a question in the comments below. Maybe after some feedback, I might do another one of these with some updated information or some useful graphics if something wasn't really clear. Also, I'm going to have all of this in chapters too. So if you see something, you can just click on the chapter and you can go right to that explanation. So anyway, again, I am Tim Farnham with Black Label Real Estate here in San Francisco. And I do get emails and phone calls all the time from people just like you thinking about moving to San Francisco. So if you're thinking about moving to San Francisco in 9 days or 90 days, then give me a call. My contact information is in the description below, and I would love to show you around town and help your move to San Francisco be as easy as possible.